What's up everyone, Jace Ducia here from Apex Aerotech. Today we're going to go over the 60-inch Slick 360 in the PNP configuration. The 60-inch Slick 360, 60-inch wingspan is a 6S aerobatic aircraft. 6S 4000, anywhere from 3,500 to 4,500 is recommended. Our flight testing has been done with a 6S 4000 100C battery. The PNP configuration is powered by the Apex and Dual Sky collaborated GA60 power system. That's also what's recommended for the ARF version. The GA60 power system contains the GA1500R motor, 28 pole racing edition, the Summit 120 amp high voltage speed controller, specifically optimized and developed for the 60-inch Slick to Apex Aerotech standards. The ESC features an automatic fan to keep the ESC cool and an operable range. It also has the mountable XT90 connector to be mounted inside the fuse of the 60-inch Slick 360. To bring that power system together, the GA1500R is spinning the carbon 16x7 Apex Dual Sky propeller for great efficiency and performance. Both the ARF and PNP configuration of the Slick 360 come with baffling for the motor and speed controller to keep everything cool and an operable temperature range. Regarding servos, the PNP comes with the Theta and Apex 988 high voltage servos. Our Apex and Dual Sky Summit 120 amp ESC has an external voltage switch so that we can optimize these servos at 8.4 volts to get maximum performance. Additionally, the PNP has the aluminum Apex clamping style servo arms all around. So the reason we have everything laid out here is I'm going to go through each item to kind of give you guys a view of what comes out of the box and some of the features for the 60-inch Slick 360 PNP. Alright, so we have the fuse. We'll start with this. I'm going to remove the canopy, one spring latch here on top. Of course, we have a finished foam cockpit set along with a pilot figure. So inside the fuse, of course, we have quick release mechanism for the wing, very easy. We have the hands-free connection for the wing plug-in to hook the servo up. Both the PNP and the ARF come with the extensions ran and labeled. So you'll see the corresponding servo labeled on the extension here in the fuselage. The ESC is routed with the mountable XT90 connector already bolted into the fuselage. Moving to the front of the aircraft in the cowling area, the motor is pre-baffled along with the ESC inlet is also baffled. The cowling has 4 total bolts, 2 on each side, and blind nuts are already installed. Inside the fuselage, very strong, lightweight, rigid construction, combination of plywood, balsa, carbon Kevlar technology, laminated, and carbon fiber as well. Pre-cut cooling on the bottom of the fuselage, landing gear mount, blind nut installation of course with 2 bolts. As far as the cowling goes, pre-cut pressure lip opening for hot air exit. Here we have the Apex Dual Sky 16x7 carbon fiber propeller. Spinner comes with the ARF and PNP configuration. It's got a fan style cone for additional cooling over the motor. This item is mostly for the ARF version as the motor is already installed in the PNP, but these are additional spacers for the motor mount. So you can adapt to different motor setups if you wish. But like I said, the PNP, you don't have to worry about it since the motor is already installed. Here we have the landing gear, wheel pants, landing gear cuffs. Everything is glued, bolted on, pre-installed for PNP. You just got to bolt the 2 bolts from the landing gear to the fuselage. Horizontal stab and elevator, pre-hinged of course, which is a feature on both the PNP and the ARF. We have the quick align system for the elevator, so no measuring required. Just make sure it's nice and snug up against the fuselage. We have the control horn installed for the PNP, linkage setup, and the Apex aluminum clamping style servo arm for the elevator. This is a filler piece for the tail of the fuselage once the elevator and horizontal stab is mounted. Just a little bit of CA, and that goes right here to give it a nice clean and flush look. The rudder, similar to the elevator, control horn pre-installed, linkage installed, aluminum clamping style servo arm. The rudder is removable. We have the wire here, so it comes mounted on the rudder. Just pull that out and place the rudder aligned with the hinges, and then slide the wire back in through the bottom. We also have the tail wheel ball link mounted for the tiller arm of the tail wheel. The tail wheel, of course, is already mounted on the airplane, so the tiller arm just slides through this ball link. Moving on to the wings, as mentioned previously, we have the hands-free connection device at the wing root, so no extension sticking out of the wing root. Right when the wing goes on and the quick attach mechanism is connected, your aileron servo is automatically plugged in. Really nice feature, and very robust and reliable too. The Theta Apex 988 high voltage servos pre-installed on the ailerons, aluminum clamping style servo arm, linkage mounted and installed, and the control horn glued into the aileron. Optional side force generators that are mounted onto the wingtip. They are quick release style, so the bolts can be mounted on the wingtip at all times, and you don't have to thread them all the way out to install and uninstall the SFG. Last but not least, we have the decal sheet. Very nice design, designed by Clint Sweet, the livery designer for the 60-inch slick. All right, so that concludes the contents overview of the PNP 60-inch Slick 360 from Apex Aerotech. Next step is we're going to put this thing together. Estimated assembly time for the PNP version is about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe even a little bit quicker if you're experienced with this type of aircraft. But feel free to follow along. We'll go through all the details, and then we're going to get this thing in the air.
In this video, we will be using CA for horizontal stab installation. Epoxy, such as Hysol, is also an option. We will use both thin and medium. As mentioned, the stab is keyed for quick alignment. We will simply slide the stab fully forward against the fuselage and make sure it is secure. These arrows indicate where we will tack in some thin CA first. Then we will follow that with some medium CA, covering all four intersections of the horizontal stab and fuselage. This means both right and left on top, and the same thing on the bottom. The small filler piece can be installed with medium CA. The landing gear assembly is already complete, so we will just use the 2 bolts along with some blue Loctite to mount it. To install the rudder, we will use the hinge wire, simply slide it out. Then we will line the hinges up to the fuselage and slide it back in through the bottom. The tail wheel mounts with 2 screws. These will be placed into the provisions of the fuselage, and the tiller wire slid through the ball link. The rudder linkage and rudder servo arm is already pre-assembled. We just need to mount it on the rudder servo. First, we will remove the output shaft bolt. We will then center the servo. A servo centering tool can make this an easy job. Then we can place the servo arm as close as possible to 90 degrees to the casing. Use blue Loctite on both servo arm bolts. The same method is used for the elevator. All extensions are pre-installed and labeled for convenience. We also have the mounted XT90 connector for the ESC. This shows our 6-channel receiver placement, and we can plug in the labeled extensions to the corresponding channels. For maximum roll rate performance, we recommend 38 degrees up and 37 degrees down for the ailerons. This shows our recommended expos and degrees for deflections for both high rates and low rates. These are starting points that you can adjust off of. For propeller installation, the main prop nut uses a 13mm wrench, and the jam nut uses an 11mm wrench. Notice the orientation of the spinner backplate bolt holes in relation to the propeller. This allows for clearance between the spinner cone and the prop. There is a gap between the main prop washer and the adapter. This is to allow the main prop nut to slide into using its flange side. We will tighten that down. Then we will tighten the jam nut again into the prop nut. To install the spinner, we will use the 4 bolts with blue Loctite applied. This shows the quick and easy installation of the optional side force generators. Once it's in place, you can tighten the bolts back down. This shows our recommended receiver and battery placement for starting CG purposes. This is a 6S 4000 milliamp LiPo.
Alright, so we've mounted the wings. I've left one side unlocked to show you the difference in the quick release mechanisms when they're locked versus unlocked. This left wing here is unlocked. You can see the black tab. This helps ensure that the canopy cannot be installed on the aircraft without the wing being locked. This right wing here is fully locked and ready to go. You can see the tab seated flush against the framing of the fuselage and the bolt from the wing being clamped and locked. So I slid the wing back out to show you the hands-free aileron servo connection. With this mechanism, the aileron servo is always plugged in while the wing is connected. Basically, the insert marked positive and negative matches up with the connector from the wing root. All right, guys, so we just finished up the assembly of the PNP configuration of the 60-inch Slick 360 from Apex Aerotech. As you could tell in the video, it was pretty short. Only took us about 45 minutes or so from unboxing to ready to fly. So it's all ready to go, and we're gonna take it up in the air and do its maiden flight.